All right, let's go ahead and dive back into the Bitcoin price action to talk about what I think is most likely here, starting off with this bear flag that we had on the charts and did in fact break down from. But historically, when you do break out of retail patterns like this, they're usually used as a trap. And what I'm seeing on order flow right now makes me think this is in fact a trap, and that with this breakdown, backtest, rejection, it's actually not bearish, it's just trapping a whole bunch of shorts within that last couple of hourly candles here. But we'll talk about that order flow in just a second. What I want to start off doing is talk about just where we are on a fractal basis comparing to last cycle on these shorter term time frames and relating that to the RSI and how it looks very similar. We can see as we've trended up here within a bit of a channel, right? We had a bit of a bear flag earlier, broke out of it to the upside, forming another one right now, broke out to the downside. Probably could be a fake out though, resume, and then break up higher in my opinion. Let's talk about why I think that though. We have RSI making the regular bear divs. We talked about this yesterday. We also have the hidden bull divs there. Then we jump out to the 4-hour time frame. You can see a very similar thing here. We're starting to make 4-hour hidden bull divs, and I do think we're fractaling something very, very similar to last cycle, where we could maybe sweep this low, right? I wouldn't be surprised for that to happen because we would still be maintaining this higher time frame hidden bull div, and that would align what happened last cycle. So let's go ahead and talk about that on the 4-hour time frame. Just gonna scroll over to where I think we are in the cycle potentially, right? I don't think the cycle is going to 100% fractal this the entire time frame wise, etc., but I do think as long as we're respecting the last cycle, let's go ahead and follow it, and we do see very similar price action. So I think you could say we're in one of these consolidation periods during the uptrend. Don't be surprised if we get a big flush like this, right? A big wick to the downside to take out a bunch of longs. But essentially each one of these consolidation periods don't really backtest these highs at all, right? They kind of leave them in the dust. We just maybe sweep some local lows within here or hold the lows, and we continue to march on up. These don't really last very long. We don't have any major corrections. It's just a little bit of sideways chop, then a continuation up on higher. And what I want to tie it back into is how the RSI is performing during this range. You see when we go ahead and break out, we are making consistent higher highs within here, but the RSI is making consistent lower highs. All right, so you're getting those regular bear divs on the 4-hour time frame, and then you're also getting lower lows. So you're getting those hidden bull divs as well. Very similar to how price is reacting at the moment, how RSI is developing, and I think it just makes a lot of sense to go ahead and repeat, or at least to rhyme what we saw last cycle within this area of just small consolidation periods of sideways chop before continuing it up on higher. And I would not expect any major pullbacks to the matter of not even filling the CME gap, because we've talked about this as well back on the CME chart. Still on the 4-hour time frame, we zoom into last cycle, and you can see during this time frame is when we went ahead and made some pretty large CME gaps, and these did not get filled back into, right? Bitcoin just chopped sideways and continued to march on up without touching those CME gaps. Yes, we did fill one here, but that was very quickly. We have left this a recent one behind for quite some time now, and on a fractal basis, you wouldn't really expect this to get filled, right? You wouldn't expect to go down and test that all-time highs. I mean, it is still there, right? It's an inefficiency in the chart, so still possible. Would make a lot of sense. In my opinion, though, we're going to hold this, either sweep the low, right? Quick sweep, maybe test this 4-hour EMA, something like that, or we go ahead and hold the higher lows, just like those two consolidation periods last cycle before continuing on up into price discovery. So yeah, all things considered, I think we're steadily approaching that $100,000, and we're going to hit it sooner than I think a lot of people think we will. And then once we do hit 6 figures, I mean, it's a psychological number. We're probably going to see a lot of profit taking. We're going to see a lot of retail come back and try to FOMO into the market. And that's where we're going to be looking for a bit larger of a correction and potentially the start of distribution on Bitcoin. But yeah, those are just kind of some abstract thoughts I have on the charts. I can't predict the future. I have no idea what's really going to happen here. We're just playing a guessing game at the moment, especially when you are in price discovery like this. Can't really do anything when it comes to TA. I love volume levels. Volume levels are the biggest factor when I'm considering what direction price is about to move. And at the moment, we just don't have any volume to go off of. So yeah, that's that. Let's get out of Bitcoin though, talk about what we're seeing elsewhere. The Russell is resetting pretty steadily here, which I actually don't mind. I want this to go ahead and fill back into this vector, backtest value area high, and bullishly continue on up. I think if we can get this backtest over with, that's going to give crypto clear skies ahead, especially in the altcoin market. I would not be surprised after the backtest of value area high here, or maybe waiting until the break of the previous all-time highs here on the Russell, is where we're going to see the altcoin market start to explode. We're going to see Bitcoin dominance drop, expansion into total 3, especially with what we're showing right here, right? We're about to break into price discovery for the year here on total 3, so that should be pretty explosive when it comes to your altcoin market. But just be aware, when this altcoin season does start, it's not going to last long, maybe a couple of months, and then that will go ahead and mark the top. That will be our warning sign to go ahead and start exiting the market. But until then, it's going to be violently higher to the upside, as we've seen Bitcoin doing over the past couple of weeks, and I think it can easily continue to do what it is doing because people just keep adding on to shorts. Let's go ahead and talk about this order flow before we do end off the video. And you can see as we went ahead and broke down from this flag right here, lots and lots of shorts are piling on, open interest going up, CVD sharply going down. You can clearly see there's a lot of people shorting the market right now, and price action is looking bullish with a nice swing failure of those lows getting back above. If we can reclaim the TPO value area low, the daily volume value area low, I do think this is going to go ahead and confirm the trap of the shorts, and we will go ahead and squeeze on up higher. That is sitting at around $89,000. So definitely a chance we go down lower, sweep these lows, more shorts pile on, we fill some inefficiencies, test the VWAP. Not ruling that out of the equation at all, but we do have a clear possibility for a potential short squeeze here. And if it doesn't happen now, I'm sure it will happen sometime in the future. I don't think these shorts are going to get away with it in the long term, and eventually that's going to be used as fuel to go ahead and launch Bitcoin up on to potentially 6 figures. But if you do have any questions about anything I talked about, or just want to join the community for this channel, link to my Discord is in the description down below. Also got a bunch of my exchange partners down there, so feel free to check those out if you want some nice bonuses and rewards. Most notably for Belofin right now, they're running a limited time event where you can get yourself 10% cash back on any deposit up to $10,000, so you can get yourself a free $1,000 in futures trading bonus. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.